Imagine a bank where you feel at home. Real people living right here in your community are the heart of Bank Independent and everything we do. Bank Independent. We're invested in you.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather, live at 5.
Well, good Wednesday evening, everybody. Taylor Plott here once again in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. We're tracking showers and storms tomorrow, but the good news is tonight we're dealing with absolutely fantastic weather out there. A little bit on the cooler side this evening, so you need that light jacket on hand. But again, our main focus will be tomorrow for the chance at some more showers and storms that could be on the strong and even severe side. First off, let's take a look outside right now from our Arctic Air Skycam network. Still a nice 64 degrees out there. Notice that dew point at 33 degrees, so still a very dry air mass in place this evening. West wind at 6 miles per hour. We'll go a little bit further down the road, down Highway 43, down towards the Florence area on the campus of the University of North Alabama. Temperature there is at 66 degrees. Dew point at 38 and got that east wind at 6 miles per hour. Still looking absolutely fantastic outside on this Wednesday evening. So if you do have any church plans this evening or just evening plans in general, it might feel good right now, but give it a few hours and we'll dip back down into the 50s and it might feel a little bit chilly out there. Temperature wise across the entirety of the area on our live Viper radar network, absolutely nothing out there for the radar to see. Temperature wise, again, we're still hanging on to those 60s right now. Once that sun goes down, because we don't have any cloud cover in place, these temperatures will drop pretty fast. But once we get into the late evening hours and overnight, clouds will move on in, but that will move into parts of the area as rain as we get into the day on Thursday, specifically the afternoon. Radar and satellite, we have a warm front. And I use warm front loosely. There's really not a huge punch of warm air coming up that has a lot of moisture with it. But we do have that warm front that is just to our north, and we'll have increasing clouds. This system's not really coming out of the west, it's coming out of the northwest. This is more of a type of summertime-ish setup for our area, which will actually lower the tornado risk, which is very much appreciated, but we will have the damaging wind and hail threat with that. I'll get to that here very shortly. Temperature-wise tonight, dropping down to the upper 40s and lower 50s. There's that increase in clouds once we get into the late evening and overnight hours going into your day on Thursday. Your forecast for your Thursday, a lot warmer, getting back up into the lower 70s, maybe some mid-70s out there. 74 degrees down there in Florence, 72 in Lawrenceburg, 74 in Columbia. As you see over here, once we get to the afternoon hours, that's when we'll start to really see the thunderstorm chances go up. A quick look at our temperature trend over the next several days. After that front moves through on Thursday, a little bit of a brief cool down Friday and Saturday. Friday could end up being a pretty dreary day out there, but again, things get better after that. The weekend's looking absolutely fantastic. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Another warm up as we head into the beginning of next week. Monday coming in at 78 degrees, and then another front behind that will bring us another chance of showers, and we'll drop our temperatures down just a little bit more. All right, let's talk about that severe weather risk, because I know a lot of people are going to be hyper focused on this. We've been dealing with these severe risks for a long time now, but I can tell you this one is not like the others by a long shot. This has more of a summertime-like setup where we have a system moving in from the northwest. Not a lot of wind shear at the surface and the low level, so that's going to limit the tornado risk greatly. Our main focus with this level 2 out of 5 is going to be the threat of damaging winds that could be on the order of 60, maybe 65 miles per hour, and the chance at some larger hail. Some of the hailstones, because we have a lot of cold air aloft with this, some of those hailstones could be around ping pong ball, maybe golf ball size hail. So even though we're not really dealing with the tornado risk, the hail risk with this is a little bit higher than what we've seen over the past several systems. Let's walk you through it as we start off Thursday morning. Cloud cover continuing to increase, maybe a few spotty showers around. These really won't be too significant. There might be a rumble of thunder or two, but it's not until the afternoon hours when we start to get that warm air really in place, where temperatures are going to be in the the low to mid 70s. Dew points not going to be as moist, so it's not going to feel overly muggy during the day on Thursday, but then we'll start to see those pop-up showers and storms start to develop. Generally around 3, maybe 4 o'clock. This is 4 o'clock here, showing some areas of showers and storms off to our southeast. Now remember, this is just model guidance. This could be over here, or that could be down here, but it just gives you an idea that there should be showers and storms that start to pop up during the late afternoon and evening. As we progress, you notice how we have a big push of this rain and storms, and notice our temperatures now down into the 50s. So that front has now pushed in from the northwest. And what will likely happen south of us is we get what's called an MCS that develops. And that's where that summertime-like setup comes into place. I know it's not going to be muggy out there tomorrow, but the summertime aspect is we get storms moving in from the northwest. They might start out scattered at first, and then they can kind of congeal into a line, what we call an MCS, and it immediately just starts to progress further to the south. That's where your damaging wind risk might actually be a little bit higher with this, would be generally to our south as the storms finally start to kind of form into that potential line and what we call cold pull out. You get all this rush of cooler air because the storms are using evaporative cooling because the dew points are not close to that temperature, so you have a little bit of evaporation that can happen. Well, that can rush out gust fronts, cool fronts out ahead of the storms, and it just makes it into a line. It kind of progresses that way. That's what we call that kind of cold pooling effect. Behind that, we'll still see rain, maybe some embedded thunder and lightning, but with their temperatures down to the 50s, there's really no severe risk with this at this point at 8 p.m. Most of this is just lingering rain and some rumbles of thunder. Behind that, we'll start to dry out briefly. I think there'll be a period where we'll see a little bit less cloud cover, but once we get into the day on Thursday or on Friday, notice 5 a.m. we're starting to get a little bit more cloud cover increasing as we get wraparound moisture that comes in on the back side, and that might lead to a little bit of a dreary day on Friday. Your threats for tomorrow: very low risk of a tornado. It's not completely zero, but it is very low out there, which is very nice. However, the high wind risk and the hail risk is definitely there, and I do stress that there could be some significant hailstones and maybe even some significant wind gusts, again, especially further south as you get that kind of MCS that should develop from this at some point, where you could get winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour. But that hail potential, that might be our biggest issue going into the day on Thursday. And again, some of those could be ping pong ball, maybe even golf ball size hail in some instances. Your 7-day forecast, again, like I mentioned, lingering showers on Friday. Friday could end up being a pretty dreary day out there with temperatures down in the lower 60s. But look at the weekend. Absolutely fantastic Saturday and Sunday. Lower 60s on Saturday behind that front. A little bit more of a warmth moving on in on Sunday with temperatures in the lower 70s, a lot warmer on Monday. Then we have another quick round of showers that moves in Tuesday with the cold front, and then we cool right back down again into the 60s. That's a look at your latest forecast with your live at 5. I'm back here at 6 and 9 this evening to give you another update, and then we'll have Kelly Rawson coming in, Ben Luna will be in on your Thursday morning forecast. I'll have your forecast back at noon on your Thursday. Hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday evening. We'll see you back here a little bit later on.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather